Welcome to Gregorian Biblical Academy. Today we are discussing a silent but potentially historic political shift in the Indian state of Kerala, the gradual realignment of sections of the Christian community toward the Bharatiya Janata Party. Kerala is often described as God's own country. You arrive, and you first notice the calm, the breeze from the Arabian Sea, coconut palms swaying, ancient churches standing beside temples and mosques. It appears harmonious, almost timeless. But beneath this beauty lies a deeply charged political history. Kerala has witnessed ideological clashes, intense rivalries, and even political violence over decades. And now, beneath the surface of calm, something new is unfolding. For decades, the political loyalty of Kerala's Christians was almost predictable. But today, that predictability is fading. Why is this happening? What has changed? And what does this mean for the future of Kerala? Let us explore the historical foundation to understand the present. We must revisit 1957. In that year, Kerala elected the first democratically chosen communist government in the world. Soon after the Education Reform Bill was introduced, the legislation aimed to regulate educational institutions, including minority-run schools, many of which were managed by Christian organizations. For the Christian community, education was not merely institutional infrastructure. It was identity. It was mission. It was legacy. The perceived state intervention triggered anxiety about autonomy. The result was the famous liberation struggle, where large sections of Christians opposed the government's reforms. From that moment, a long-term political alignment began to solidify. The Congress Party, and later the United Democratic Front (UDF), became the preferred political partner. The relationship was simple. Support us, and we will respect your institutional autonomy. For nearly 4 decades, this understanding held firm. The margins of change fast forward to 2021. In electoral terms, the BJP's support among Christians in Kerala was statistically negligible, around 2%. In political science language, it was almost irrelevant. But politics is rarely static. In 2024, something unexpected occurred. In Thrissur, often described as Kerala's cultural heart, actor-turned-politician Suresh Gopi won a parliamentary seat under the BJP banner. Reports suggested that a significant section of local Christians supported him. This was not merely about celebrity appeal. It signaled permeability in what was once considered an impenetrable vote bank. Then came the optics that carried deeper meaning, a meeting between Christian clergy from Kerala and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. For the first time in a decade, prominent Christian leaders openly shared a public platform with him. In Kerala's symbolic political culture, this mattered, because symbolism shapes perception, and perception shapes voting behavior. The underlying concerns, but optics alone cannot move communities. Several policy controversies contributed to growing unease among sections of Christians. One was the 80-20 minority scholarship distribution model, which allocated a larger share to Muslims compared to other minority groups. When the Kerala High Court struck it down and legal appeals continued, some Christian groups felt sidelined. Then came the Waqf board land disputes affecting families across communities. The BJP positioned itself as actively intervening on behalf of affected landowners. Whether one agrees with the political framing or not, the perception grew that the BJP was willing to address concerns others hesitated to confront. Beyond policy, there were deeper anxieties, discussions around extremism, reports of radical recruitment cases, and public rhetoric such as love jihad or narcotics jihad, often raised by church leaders themselves. Now, one may debate the scale or interpretation of these concerns, but dismissing fears does not dissolve them. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna reminds Arjuna that ignoring inner turmoil does not lead to peace. It requires engagement with truth. And in the Bible, we read in John 8:32, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." Communities seek political homes where their concerns are acknowledged, not trivialized. Representation and political space. There is also the factor of representation. As political alliances shift, leaders move between fronts and local power balances change. Communities reassess who speaks for them. When established alliances appear weakened, new actors attempt to fill the vacuum. The BJP's strategy in Kerala appears deliberate, promoting Christian leaders nationally, engaging clergy, and projecting itself as a safe political home rather than an adversarial force. This is not overnight transformation. It is incremental repositioning. Recent local body results suggest growing entry points, not dominance, but presence. And in politics, presence precedes power. A deeper reflection, but let us step back from electoral arithmetic. What is truly at stake? Kerala's social fabric has long been built on coexistence. Christians, Hindus, and Muslims have shared neighborhoods, markets, festivals, and tragedies. If political realignment happens, it must not fracture that shared history. The Upanishadic prayer says, Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Lead us from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, from mortality to immortality. Political transformation must also move from fear to dialogue, from suspicion to accountability, from rhetoric to justice. And the Bible echoes this aspiration in Micah 6-8. What does the Lord require of you? To act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly. If any party, whether BJP, Congress, LDF, or others, truly embodies justice, mercy, and humility, it will earn trust. Not through optics alone, but through consistent action. What does this mean for 2026 and beyond? The 2026 Kerala Assembly elections and the 2029 Lok Sabha elections will test whether this shift is symbolic or structural. Will Christians fully abandon traditional alliances? Unlikely, at least immediately. But is there renegotiation underway? Evidence suggests yes. From 2% to potentially 5 to 10% is not dominance, but it is momentum. And momentum changes strategy. Momentum changes discourse. Momentum changes history. Final assertion, the story is not simply Christians moving to BJP. The deeper story is this. Communities realign when they feel unheard. Political structures change when certainty becomes complacency. And democracy renews itself when voters reevaluate loyalties. Kerala stands at such a moment. The real question is not who wins. The real question is whether politics in Kerala can evolve toward genuine engagement rather than inherited allegiance. From Azathoma Sadgamaya, from assumption to understanding, that is the challenge before Kerala. If you found this analysis thoughtful and balanced, please support Gregorian Biblical Academy. Like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us explore complex realities with depth, courage, and faith. Thank you for listening.